All right, let's do it.
All right.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Small Guys Podcast. And just a friendly reminder, when I say small guys, we are not talking about our appearance. Take that as you will. Today we're going to be doing a rewind episode, and I'll let Josh explain that a little bit more. But the movie we have today is Gone Baby Gone.
um so rewind is a new thing we're doing. We're gonna start doing it every Tuesday starting September 13th. We want to start doing 2 week starting that week going forward. But we're trying it out here today just because it's kind of a slow week today or this week. But yeah, basically what a rewind is any movie or TV show that didn't come out this year. So 2021 all the way to 1950 if you really wanted to, like Goodwill Hunting 1997 or Shutter Island 2010 or Other Guys or whatever we want to talk about, whether it's comedy, horror, thriller, action, whatever it is, we want to talk about it and have its own day for it. So we're just gonna kind of have facts and break down the movie and kind of give our opinions on it and what we thought, and then give our reviews at the end. So but yeah, let me give the synopsis for this movie. Gone Baby Gone, 2007. It's a mystery drama. It's about an hour and 54 minutes. It was directed by Ben Affleck and stars his brother, Casey Affleck. In a tough Boston suburb, private detective Patrick Kenzie is hired to trace the missing daughter of Helene McCready. Police Chief Doyle doesn't think Patrick has a chance. She's been missing for 76 hours already. In a neighborhood where he lives, Patrick, all his life, the danger may be closer to home than he thinks. Yeah, let's kind of just start right at the beginning of this movie. The way it starts, it kind of like pans throughout the neighborhood, throughout the suburb, kind of showing all these extras and people that live there and stuff like that. I actually read that Ben Affleck decided to have all of the extras be locals who actually live in Boston. If you couldn't tell by looking at them.
That's kind of cool.
No offense. No offense.
To our Boston fans.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Boston's a cool city.
It is, yeah.
History.
Yeah, so it kind of pans throughout the neighborhood, and then I'm blanking on the McCready daughter, Amanda, right? She's already gone missing. She's a 4-year-old girl. Where like the way Prisoners opens, not to give any spoilers for that movie, it kind of introduces you to the kids a little bit, which most of these kind of movies do, where you kind of get to see the kids a little bit. Whereas this right away, she's missing. And you most of the movie, you go off just a picture that you've seen of her on the news or just in the house or whatever it is. So you really don't get to see her at all, besides from the pictures, which I kind of like that, because from an outsider's perspective, that's what you would see on the news. So then anyway, it gets to the point where the uncle, I'm blanking on his name too. Hold on, let me pull up the cast list. Sorry.
Uncle's name is Lionel.
Yeah. And then what was the aunt's name? Q? What were they calling her? What was Helena calling her? It was B. They're calling her B. Sorry. So yeah, so B and Lionel go visit Patrick and his partner Angie, and hire them, but they don't usually do cases like this. They usually do, like, if someone's not paying their bills on time or whatever it is, not for missing persons, let alone a missing child. And Angie doesn't really seem like she's too down to take it. And Patrick's character, he really wants to take this job. And you don't know right away if it's like for the money or if it's just because this is a high case right now, or what it is, right? And then it leads to them going to visit the family, the house. And this is my second favorite line in the whole movie. And it's where Angie and Patrick just park the car and they're trying to decide whether or not they actually want to take this case. And Angie says she doesn't want to find this 4-year-old girl dead in a dumpster. And then he pauses and he looks at her and he goes, well, then who will? And that there, that's when I really started to fuck with this movie. That's when I really liked Patrick a lot as a character. I think that's really when it started to show that he is morally correct. But yeah, so what did you guys think to this point in the movie, watching it?
So, I mean, just from what you kind of introduced at the beginning of this, I just want to add a little bit more. It is based on a 1998 novel, Gone Baby Gone. So they obviously made it to a live action. This is Ben Affleck's first like screenwritten, film. So that's awesome. And then let alone he gave his brother Casey Affleck his first, main character, protagonist, like, you know, role. And you got to think he only appeared in Ocean's 11, the original one, in like, what was that, 2000,
3 or 4.
2001, I think it might have been.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
literally
So,
just watched that for the first time.
Yo,
Good watch.
so he's he's got like a little part in that movie, but this is obviously his first main role, you know, and he's not even an established actor at that point, to where I think that he was the best actor in this entire movie, you know, just from his line delivery and everything else. Just on top of that, like, you know, he completely sells it, because it doesn't seem fake at all. It seems this is one of the more realistic movies you'll watch, I think personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, like they did in their hometown Boston, and all that, like, you know, they had locals and a bunch of stuff. You know, that kind of adds to it, because it's more of a family film. Like, I mean, not that it's a suspenseful thriller, but
Yeah.
it is, like, all in all, it's still like family. Like, all his decisions are based upon himself, and that's what really, like, you know, sticks out.
Yeah. Well, and then too, I do want to just say this because I forgot to mention it earlier on. This movie's budget was about $19 million, and it grossed about 34 million worldwide. So it did end up making a profit.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
too, I also read that he wanted to start. Ben Affleck originally was going to star in it, but he ended up just having his brother do it instead.
Mhm.
Isn't it kind of crazy that something like this is, I mean, we'll talk to the movie and everything and give our thoughts and scores and stuff like that at the end, but like, this movie was $19 million. Now, I know it was a little bit long ago, so I don't know what that is adjusted with inflation, but like, you compare this to something like Day Shift, which I gave
What
a
was the
pretty
budget on
crit-
that one? 200, or was it 100?
100 million. And I mean, come on, like
30 to
just-
Snoop.
I mean, yeah, I know there's a lot of different things, and like I said, with inflation, but like, it's crazy what you can actually make if you have someone that's writing it that like knows what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, if you have a
that-
good script, it makes it 10 times different, you know.
Yeah, plus him being in the hometown, I bet you it wasn't hard for him to be like, "Hey, can I shoot this shot here?" And everyone's like, "It's fucking Ben Affleck." Like, yeah, you can. Come into my bar, film
Hell
this
yeah.
scene.
That's
yes,
why, and he kind of put all those guys on the map too. Like, you know, I mean, that's like a, I don't know. I mean, what can you really relate it to? It's not like Big Sean coming back to Detroit, because it's kind of like Big Sean coming back to Detroit and shooting a music video. You
course
know,
you're gonna
just
say
bringing
that.
in like everything else, or like something like that. It's like a homage.
I mean, this is only like what 14, 15 years ago. And I just feel like nowadays,
God,
like
that
back
feels
then,
good,
it
huh?
was more of like a focus on like acting, and like visuals like really weren't a prominent thing in movies. Obviously there it was growing, and I'm sure like you can probably find a movie that like you can say that I'm wrong when I say that. But like I feel like nowadays people go for not only the acting, but like to like for visual like effects too. Like
Mhm.
Marvel, like CGI, or, you know, stuff like that is all I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I feel like there's
The-
just a little bit more on acting.
There
Tech-
is, yeah, the camera was less trying to
Camera
do
work.
these yeah, the camera work was less dramatic. No, it was still dramatic, it just wasn't like jumping, and like it wasn't these fast movements, it was more slow pans and stuff like that you don't
Yeah, it was like still shots.
Yeah, you don't see it as
Yeah.
much today, and a lot of that, like in some of these older movies, I mean, we're gonna do, you know, a lot of these rewinds. There's gonna be stuff that we catch now that like I didn't, you know, as a kid, or I mean, there's still things as a young adult that I'm sure I'm missing, but that you appreciate some of these older ones that you say, Mike, like in a Marvel movie, it's like, I mean, that's totally different, but they're focusing on the CGI and the things like that. You're not going to see a beautiful slow moving shot, and that is a totally different style. So maybe it's not even fair to compare, but there's some about some of these older movies that like for $19 million, you can produce something like this that without giving anything away, I thought it was a good movie.
100%.
The craziest part about this movie is that it literally came out in 2007, and this is Ben Affleck's like first movie that he directed, and the cast is just unreal. Like, if you
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
pull up the
I
cast
know.
list and see it all, like, it's insane. Especially like seeing it because it's a rewind movie. You know, some of you guys saw this for the first time. Some of us have seen it a couple times now, but you just go back, you're like, damn, he plays in this now. Like, you know, it's just crazy just pointing them out
Like
and
who?
And to be
seeing like
fair,
what they look
like,
like now.
They're more renowned because of movies like this, like having
Yeah.
movies under their belt. But
Oh,
I get
yeah.
100%.
But that's why they're like hidden gems that not a lot of people know about.
Yeah, I
you
can't
know?
believe Ben Affleck found that Morgan Freeman guy. That's insane.
I know.
Put
he
that dude
paved
on
his
the
career for him.
map.
This is his debut. But I mean, you got to think they got that one guy from Breaking Bad, Salamanca guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the bellboy.
Yeah. They got I mean, even Ed Harris, Morgan Freeman, Casey Affleck did great. Yeah, I mean, the cast list is just it's top tier.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, there's not really one part. Like, I mean, we're gonna get into it obviously here in a sec, but like just in that opening act alone, like, I don't think there's really a slow part of this movie. I mean, Brian might be able to defer off of that, but
Yeah. You know, this movie started off so goddamn strong, and I think that's why I was upset at the end.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did we get to a part yet where that bothered you or no?
No, the whole opening was fucking great, dude. I was hooked. Like, it was awesome. I love the idea of Casey Affleck's character just fucking knowing everybody. Like,
Yep.
fuck, like we've grown up in the city. Obviously, their city's larger and more dangerous, but it's like, fuck, like we go in somewhere, we know someone, we see someone from high school that we haven't seen in a while. And like that was cool. He just had all these connections. He was super cool with people. I'd like to think that's like how we are if we go and see someone, like no one really fucking hates us. And I thought that was fucking awesome. He had all these fucking different people that were just like, all right, because it's you, I'm gonna let that slide, but get the
Yeah.
fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And it was it's cool seeing that, and especially again because like we've seen hella movies from Boston, and it's just like it seems to be like that tight knit, like, oh, we grew up on the block together and shit. And I like seeing stuff like that, and I like
Yeah.
seeing the idea, like Josh said, that is one of my favorite quotes, that in the car where like her whole point is not wanting to take this case because if they do it like really well, like she knows that they will, they might find a dead little girl. And for him to be like, well, who's gonna do it? Like, he's right. Because after 48 hours, like statistically, you're dead.
Yeah,
You're
it's-
gone. They're
Yeah.
never gonna find
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
And that's why it was just such a big deal. And but yeah, I thought it started off so fucking phenomenal. Like I said, is at the edge of my seat. And then yeah, it definitely it hit a low towards the end for me. I was a
Well-
little disappointed.
Let's continue, okay? So at this point we go meet the mom, right? Helena McCready, who is played by Amy Ryan, which she actually, believe it or not, is the only one that won awards for this movie.
yeah.
She won Satellite Award for Best Actress in a Supporting Role.
Well, she played the
Okay.
fuck out of her being drunk.
Yeah.
She played the fuck out of that.
Yeah,
Dude,
and then
she's
she
such a
won.
dumb character, man, and you don't know it. Like, you know that it's like it takes place in Boston, but
Yeah.
you don't know, like, some people you can look at and be like, oh, they're not an actor, they're not an actress, but then
Mm-hmm.
you looking at her like she played that role so well that you would be
Mhm.
like, holy shit, like, God. It's
Yeah, I
just
read a
like,
thing where apparently
stupid.
security didn't even realize early on when they started filming who she was. They actually thought she was one of the Boston extras.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
They weren't letting her on.
Yeah, she
Um,
played the shit
Yeah.
out of that part.
And what you
Yeah.
two just said proves why she did so well in that role.
100%.
As the grieving mother.
It's just
yes.
like hating fucking Homelander in real life, like that actor. If I saw him, be like, fuck you, but also not because you just played the shit out of that role.
yeah. Yeah, so you kind of get her kind of side of the story of like what happened with her and her daughter, and she
Her
claims,
side.
yeah, her side.
The lies.
She claims that she went to
She's
a
the
neighbor's,
neighbor's
house,
house
for
for
30
30
minutes,
minutes.
came back, and her daughter was gone. And they meet Dottie, very nice woman. And
Fuck
then they,
off, Lionel. Dottie's my best friend. She can stay if she wants. And I was like, this bitch had something to do with it.
yeah, yeah,
Fuck
and then
Dottie.
and then they go and they check out Amanda's room.
Mhm.
And that's like one of the first things that really hits you where it's like, oh, she might not be a good mother. I mean, like
Yeah.
you're picking up things once you see the room that really hits you, like, oh yeah, like, okay, for sure she's not really the best mother. And not to jump ahead, that's when she has that line, like, or actually no, this part already happened where she's talking to B about being a single mom's hard and
You
all this
wouldn't
stuff.
know you're
Yeah.
infertile.
And
Yeah,
fertile,
that's what
yeah,
she
and
said,
that's a good ass
man.
line. That's a
Yeah.
good ass line. Yeah, I mean, it's like, wow, okay. And then Patrick and Angie go to the bar, and they question Ray, right? And you can tell that like the bartender and everyone's kind of like, I don't know, not really happy that Ray's talking to them, and they feel like maybe Patrick's coming off as a cop. So it's like, what's going on with this bar? Like something else is happening here. And then they leave the bar and they go meet two detectives.
Well, can we say what they found out when they were in the bar? Or is that
Sure.
jumping the
Yeah.
gun? Because
I-
that's when they find out that she was there. Ray confirmed for at least 2 hours doing blow with old what's
Yeah.
his name in the bathroom.
Yep.
She
so you already
wasn't
know
at the
she's lying.
neighbors for 30 minutes, and I think that's also why the bar was tense. Yeah, you come in there acting like cops are gonna get upset, but
Yeah.
also
The guy
everyone
screaming,
is
too.
there nightly, like they know they saw that bitch in the bar the night her
Mhm.
daughter went missing.
Yeah.
And when Patrick pistol with Big Dave.
Ah, I love
Nah,
that
it
with his
wasn't
little
Big
ass
Dave,
gun
it was,
too,
Yeah.
bro.
It
He
wasn't
called
Big
him. He
Dave, it was
called
the
him
other
Fat
guy.
Dave.
Oh, the other, other guy.
Big Dave was the
Um,
bartender. That's a
so
good
yeah,
ass
yeah,
scene, man. That
that's
just
It is a
shows you
good ass
that,
scene.
but that just establishes that
It was
his
super
character
tense. I
doesn't
thought they were
take
just gonna
shit.
beat the shit out of him,
Oh, yeah,
dude.
they locked the
And then
door. He's
and then
like,
he goes,
"Unlock the door,
"There's a
Bill."
nice piece of ass in the bar," and looks at the girlfriend. I go, "I don't like this. I don't like this one bit."
That's a good scene, dude.
Yeah, that
Great. See, at that scene right there, that's kind of when shit starts to hit the fan, though. That's like
That's
a good,
honestly-
that's, a
That's
turning
when
point.
it picks
Movie.
up.
Yeah,
That's when the movie grabbed my attention, I think.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
the best part.
yeah, because
keeps
then
going,
they go to
though.
the diner and you're introduced to Ed Harris and John Ashton's characters, Remy and Nick, right?
Yeah.
I like them right away. I don't know. I mean, I love Ed Harris, but
Mhm.
I liked Nick even a little bit more. I felt like he was a little bit more sincere. He's a nicer guy, just from the way he acted. But like Patrick does this thing where he like butts heads with anyone he sees. I
Yeah.
forgot to mention. I'm sorry, but when they go into Amanda's room, and that's when you're introduced to Morgan Freeman's character, and that's when he says like, "We're already 76 hours in. You're gonna get in our way. You're too young. You don't know what this world's like. I've been here. I've done this for so long that you know, I know the dangers and I know the seriousness behind a case like this. So,
Yeah.
and
He
he's the one that
experienced
sets up.
firsthand.
Yeah, he
Yes.
experienced it firsthand.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's when he expresses
Remember,
everything that happened with
yeah,
his
but
daughter.
he comes in the room and then he goes, "Yeah, you know what happened to my daughter, right? I'm
Mhm.
sure you've seen it in the papers and the news."
Yeah, and we don't know yet. We don't know till a little bit later on what happened with his daughter. But anyway, yeah. So you meet Ed Harris's character and John Ashton's character, and then they kind of both sides fill in what they have, what they got from Ray and everything like that, and then they introduce two like cocaine addicts and then one child molester who they believe might be involved in this case, but they don't know where their locations are. They just kind of throw that out there. But then anyway, they go back to visit Helene to make sure that her story is accurate to what they've now heard from Ray. And she kind of like confesses to a good amount of it, basically saying that she does
Yeah.
do cocaine frequently and stuff like that. So what did you guys think to this part, basically? Because now she's come out and she's
So-
being more honest a little bit. And yeah.
So what I had thought throughout this whole thing, and 2007, what were like a year before, 2 years before fucking the whole Casey Anthony thing.
Yeah.
And I literally was just thinking of that the whole fucking time because Casey Anthony,
Yeah.
if you're fucking listening, you're a fucking piece of shit. Fucking gave your kid to Zanny the nanny.
She's drinking a
Go do
cocktail in
Xanax
Malibu
with
right
your
now, man.
fucking
Yeah, fuck you,
boyfriend.
Casey Anthony.
Dude, Casey Anthony, biggest piece of shit all around. Someone clip that, get it on TikTok. Fuck Casey Anthony.
Aiden, get that on there.
But
You're gonna
the
get-
whole
you're gonna
the
get
whole
fucking
fucking
executed.
time, I was just kind of like thinking of that
You can put
because
her
instead
trunk.
of cocaine, it was Casey Anthony doing blow or not doing blow, fucking doing bars, and then lying about where she was the night of where her daughter went missing and shit.
Yeah.
And that's why that was like why I thought the like mom was in on it, you know, before getting ahead of ourselves. But like, did you guys see that at all? Because like that was
Yeah.
like the first sign when I saw her and she was a drunk. I was like, this is fucking Casey Anthony 1 year before Casey Anthony.
Yeah, it's definitely
Whoa.
similar to Casey Anthony big time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But then
and
you
well,
also got to think that this is based off of a novel, so
it is.
Yep.
1998.
yeah.
Yeah, so but I mean, it definitely the movie has Casey Anthony vibes for sure. But
Well,
I
that's
mean,
the
it's
thing
like-
though, because both the book and the movie, like the movie's like a year. I think 2008 was when the whole Casey Anthony shit happened. Like we were young.
Mm-hmm.
But
So,
still, yeah,
like-
we were still old enough to remember it,
Yeah.
you know.
No, I mean, at this part of the movie, I think it's great because obviously, I mean, that's the one thing that I love about this movie is that you think that like there's just
You
so
know
many
one
twists and
thing-
turns.
you
You
know
think it's
one
one
thing
thing
and
and then it's a complete opposite, which is nice because you can't predict anything.
Well, Aiden's
you're
right. At
watching
this
this for the
point, you
first
think
time, there's no
Helena's a piece of
prediction.
shit.
Yeah,
Like, really. Like she doesn't
Yeah.
give a fuck about her daughter or anything.
No,
And
she
Brian, to
doesn't.
what you said, kind of like I almost thought she was in on it, but like after the whole scene, Josh, you can get into this after that. But after the whole
Yeah.
scene where they find her boyfriend then and the money gets involved, I felt like that's when I was like, okay, she's maybe not into it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Again, and on the whole thing,
Yeah.
Still a piece of shit all around.
100%.
100%.
Just so we're all on the same page.
Yeah, I don't
we'll
think
talk
that's a
about the
debate.
end, but
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll
100%.
Okay, well let's get into that part. She does confess that they did, her and Ray stole some money from a pretty big drug
130K.
dealer. Yep. So they go and visit Ray, and they find out that Ray's been dead, murdered. And at first I watched this and like, you know, they reacted to the body like it was like had been rotting for a couple days, like it was really smelly and stuff like that. So I was like, I wonder if they killed Ray and then just went and kidnapped the daughter right after. But you know, it's not like that. Sorry to spoil
Yeah.
things. But anyway, so let's continue. So yeah, Helena goes in the backyard. I think Rayleigh is really starting to hit her even more. They grab the money. She's hidden it in Ray's backyard. And then they decide, well, then they take Helena home. And right here, this is the scene where like another amazing Amy Ryan performance where she makes Patrick promise to bring her daughter home. I thought
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
scene was really impactful. I think that
Yeah.
showed that like she does actually do like care about her daughter and her well-being. So that right there,
And-
that like those
She's
scenes like
also
showed.
a lion ass bitch that said, "I'll quit. I'll be a better mom.
I'll
You
stop drinking, I'll
lion
stop
ass-
Wow.
Addiction
I don't-
is.
lion
I don't wanna-
ass
I'm
bitch.
All
Anyway,
right, Brian, no more beer,
Oh,
okay?
I haven't drank today, so
You
that
have to change for
fucking
me
way.
today.
God.
Now I want a beer.
I want to say something, but I don't want to spoil the ending. But go on. Go
Okay.
I
on.
know that's what's hard about doing it the way that we're doing it right now because you know
yeah.
you kind of just want a free flow, but
yeah.
Hey, I feel like I'm cutting
no,
off
that is a
Josh
great
and stuff.
part.
No, you're good.
But that's why. So like the tone at this point is, oh, the mom's a piece of shit, and
Yeah.
then she comes to the realization. Well, that's when Casey or Patrick, when they see the dead body, they're like, he's the one telling the detectives like, no, he didn't know the answer. That's why like he was holding on for life so hard. You could tell like they beat the shit out of him before they actually put a bullet in his head.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, and that right
he
there
calls
proves
that
he's a
out.
good detective too.
Yeah,
like, he's
and he's
picking
not
up-
even he doesn't even have a license. I mean he has a PI license. He doesn't have anything else compared to that.
I didn't
Yeah.
get one of
But,
those. I
I
want
was
one.
gonna
Yeah,
say I
but
didn't
then-
even know you took
but that's
one
why there's so many
class
different
and they send it
plot
to you.
points going on because there are this is going on. Patrick, they're being like morally right, morally correct, and they're trying to solve this case for the mother, for themselves and all that. And then you
Yeah.
have dirty cops, and then you have so much other shit going on. So like
Yeah, a
that's
bunch
why
of
there's
stories.
like 3 different stories going on at once.
Yeah.
And you gotta like actually pay attention, like and you can pick clues out. Like when you rewatch it a second time, you're like, oh, it's so obvious that he's the one
Yeah.
or she's the
I
one.
mean, no, you
Well-
can say that. I think this is the first big turning point for me in the movie. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then they decide that they're gonna go visit Cheese to return the money, see if they can do an exchange for Amanda, who they
Yeah.
believe that he has, right? And the cops are really the two
You
detectives
didn't
are
even
really.
introduce cheese.
Oh, I'm going to. We're getting there. They want to really go inside, but Patrick convinces them that he can handle it, right? So he goes in there and he meets Cheese. And then Cheese eventually says the line, "Gone, baby, gone." Roll the credits,
Yeah.
everything like that. It was
He
really
really
good, like,
hesitates that second gone.
Yeah, the
now.
gone.
I didn't
yeah.
like that. No, I was thinking we should have
Yeah.
announced the title when we started as, she's gone, baby. Gone.
Gone.
I tried to do it a little bit.
It's like an awkwardly long pause. Like,
It is, yeah.
Say, just fucking say it.
So did you guys believe him at all that he didn't have her? Because I did.
I did.
believed him.
I
he
I thought he was
like,
legit.
It's one thing to come
Okay.
to money. Like, did he kill the guy? Sure, but he's not
Yeah.
taking a fucking child.
Yeah, that is
That's
something
a whole
else.
different thing. He doesn't want cops bursting in like how they're
Yeah.
about to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is also, it's really tight. Again, Cheese is a well-known Haitian drug dealer, right? Is that what it is?
It is,
Hasten,
yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
and again, the only reason they let Patrick in was because Patrick had known him.
Yeah.
And like he literally, and like when they have the conversation, it goes south, and he tells Patrick to get the fuck out of here. And he goes, "Next time I see you and you do something like this, it's not going to go like that." But because of that little respect there from them both growing up together, was just kind of like, "All right, get the fuck out of here, cop."
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
No, he was telling the truth, and you could tell like when you originally watched that scene, for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, not getting into spoilers. I mean, that's why I kind of want to tell you guys. I want to explain it now, but I can't. So I'll try
Well,
to.
I'll keep pushing us along.
Yeah, push us through, Josh.
Pushing us through.
Give me
Okay,
some
so then they go outside, they say they fail, whatever. Then the next day they receive a ransom call from Cheese, they believe, who is willing to do the exchange with Amanda at night at by a nearby pond with a little cliff, whatever the fuck, right? And they leave a letter, a ransom letter, and then they leave it's like her jacket or scarf or something in Patrick's mailbox.
blanket.
Yeah.
Blanket, yeah. And that right there is like, it kind of gives you chills a little bit. Like, all right,
Mhm. It wasn't even a letter; it was a phone call to the
But
fucking
that kind of made me
police
suspicious.
station.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just felt like
Yeah,
bullshit.
because his character, he wouldn't do something like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so then they go down to the office, they meet Morgan Freeman's character again, and he's saying like this is all on his shoulders, and he explains how he had a daughter who was 12 years old and he lost her tragically and everything like that. That's what made him start doing what he was doing and trying to help kids and stuff like that. So they go down the quarry, I think that's what it's called, and they Corey. Thank you, sorry. Corey. And Patrick and Angie start climbing up this cliff, right? And while the cops are on the other side doing the swap or exchange, as you will. And I'm thinking the whole time when they're climbing up there, I'm like, how the hell are they gonna get a 4-year-old up here? And then right away you
They
just hear a
said
bunch
that.
of gunshots, yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, and Patrick says it. And so they run over there, and all you can see is Cheese dead, right? And you look into the water and you see this doll that has been all over TV on the news that is her favorite doll. And anyway, Angie jumps in to try to save her. Then they have to go to the hospital, right? She's not been found. She hasn't been found. They believe Amanda's dead. It's to the point where Amanda even has her own funeral. Very sad. And Patrick's character explains that it's a casket that they were only allowed to borrow for the day, and then they had to give it back.
Had to give it back to the
Heartbreaking. Yeah, she had a death certificate, everything like that. This is about a little past the halfway point. I mean, did you guys think for a minute she was dead yet? I don't think I did. Did you?
I
I mean, yeah, but
I didn't want to give up hope.
There was a lot of movie left, so
There was a lot of movie
there
left.
was a lot of movie left. But then that's where advances into the next scene where they find that other missing boy,
A 7-year-old boy. Do you guys remember his name?
No,
I just watched it too.
That's
That's
the chain.
Yeah. Anyway, so this boy's missing. I'm gonna skip to the part where he's in the bar. His buddy comes and finds him, and he is a lead on where these people that the cops brought to Patrick's attention, those 3 people, the 2 drug addicts and the one
again,
child
this
molester.
is another drug dealer that was very cool with Patrick.
He was cool. Do you remember his name?
Bubba.
Bubba and
Got a lot of drug
Bubba when
dealers.
he asked him and he goes, "That's why I don't fuck with rat." He basically says rat bitches like how we would. It's like
Yeah.
talk about, I don't fuck with rat bitches like Helene because that's messy. I only fuck with real people.
Yeah.
And that's the type of character he is comparatively to the Haitian drug dealer. Like that motherfucker would just sell to anybody, doesn't matter. Like get customers a customer. This guy is like, I drug deal, but it's my business. Like I don't want to go to jail at the end of the day. And that was another that I think that was my favorite one, honestly, of connections that Patrick had. But
I
this
like Bubba.
guy, and
Me
like
too.
again, Patrick wasn't even doing drugs at this point, and then he was just came to chat with his boy and just catch up for a second, and then asked him questions. And then Bubba was the one that pulled up and came in with the hottest lead, like more than like any cop could have done.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A cop couldn't go in there and get all that information from him
Nope.
like that. And then too, Bubba literally took him to the house. And this whole scene is like edge of your seat type shit.
Yeah,
like,
this was crazy.
That's
yeah,
the
because
best
they
scene
go in the
movie.
house. Yeah, Bubba and Patrick go in the house to try to see if they can, get anything from what's going on in there. And those 2 start freaking out a little bit because Bubba's kind of snooping around, stuff like that. And then you see, what's the guy's name? Sorry, I had it right here. Corwin Earl. That's the guy. He comes out. He's upstairs. He's got these like really tiny clothes on, and he has
That's
this
the-
bracelet on.
That's the pedophile.
The pedophile, yes.
Yeah, and he
So
has
the bracelet that the boy, has, right? The 7-year-old
Yeah,
boy.
what is it? The Saint Vincent or something like that.
St. Vincent, yeah. And Patrick notices it right away. So then they leave the house, and Patrick calls the cops, and then they raid the house.
Yeah, well, they don't even
that's-
really call the cops. He just calls the two detectives,
Yeah,
Remy
two
and his
detectives.
boy, and then they go. SWAT's 15 minutes out, and they go, that kid's fucking dead, and then they go to burst in without the SWAT. They were like, they'll be here, but we got to go
Nick gets
now.
shot.
Yep,
Yeah,
Nick gets shot in the neck.
Yep,
I think it's
heartbreaking.
funny as shit when him and Bubba go into that crack house and he's like, "What do you guys starting a fucking band?" But then it turns out to be awful.
does.
That's why the music's loud.
And the pure chills from the bracelet when it pans to the
yeah.
bracelet,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
insane.
Well, just the way that guy looked was fucking scary as hell. He didn't have to do anything. He was just a scary looking
Honestly,
dude.
if I had to pick apart one thing about the plot, though, wasn't the guy that killed the boy a suspect for Amanda?
Yeah, he was the pedophile.
He was.
why
That's
killed
why-
him there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't know where his
didn't-
location was. That's why Bubba found where they were.
Bubba, because they noticed the fat broad. That's what
Yeah,
they
but
thought
I
But
don't-
they
But
even
then-
said in the diner that he is more into younger boys, not
Mhm.
girls.
So, and that's another catch that Josh had right there. But when he goes in there, Amanda's already dead. So then he goes in there, sees that kid who's the
Yeah.
newest one dead. He assumes that just kind of paints the picture. Oh yeah,
Exactly.
she's 100% dead. She probably was locked up in there. Could you see the
What makes you
duct
think
tape
for a second that
handcuffs.
he killed Amanda?
Well,
Yeah.
well,
Yes.
because like the whole altercation is so Patrick's in the house at this point. Nick's been shot in the neck. He's outside. Patrick gets inside. I don't know, to help out Remy because he heard more gunfire inside. Goes in. The lady had a gun and was shooting at Patrick. Patrick books it up the stairs and into the room where the pedophile was at. And when he gets in there, he locks the
It was
door.
an accident.
Turns the corner, and he's on. That gave me chills, bro. He's in the
Yeah.
fucking fetal position, damn near sitting up, and he's holding. It was an accident, and then everything's moving slow mo. I didn't like that. I thought the guy was gonna get the jump on Patrick.
I was
But then-
waiting for it.
And
I was
Patrick
too.
is literally in the bathroom, sees the body, throws up, and then I loved it. Just executes him, bro.
See, dude, I
Yeah.
don't think he should have killed him. I mean, that just shows that he's not like he's not
He's not cop material,
Yeah,
bro.
he's not a cop, so he can kill anyone he wants, I guess.
This is one of the big topics I want to
murder.
talk to you guys about, because he says after the fact when he's talking with Remy at the hospital and they're drinking, he says that he regrets doing it and he wouldn't do it if he could.
100%.
So would you guys in that moment
In that
shoot him in
moment,
the head?
yeah.
Because I think I would.
Yeah, I'm enraged. I'm fucking pulling the
Yeah.
trigger. You have a dead fucking little
Seeing
boy
the kid
in
there
here?
without his teeth in the bathtub, I had to look away. And usually that
Yeah.
doesn't happen with me in movies. I had to look away. It freaked me the fuck out.
Mhm.
Yeah. No,
I
I
would-
mean,
I would
it
probably do it.
depends. I would probably
I would-
execute him, but I mean, then
I'd
again, like
execute him.
but at his point, like, I mean, that's why he either could have accepted that Amanda was dead, or he could have been like, "Oh shit, maybe she is alive." But after seeing that, he just said, "Screw it."
Yeah, well, 'cause
He could've
especially the
questioned
little boy at that point had gone missing for what, 3 days?
3
And
days
his
ago.
body was already in the fucking bathtub. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, at
Yeah.
that point, if he did assume Amanda's dead, he was like, "Fuck it, let's take this piece of shit off the street." Like,
Yeah.
no need for him to even get back out.
Yeah.
Real
But,
punishment type, if you ask me.
It was. No, and believe it or not, this is when the movie starts to pick up. You'd think it already happened. Because
Just nonstop.
yeah, because Patrick and Remy are talking outside, they're drinking, and Remy reveals that he's known Ray for the last 15 years, and Ray's been a rat for them. But earlier on in the story, when Remy's asked if he knows who Ray is, Remy claims he doesn't. So it's a huge lie that Patrick has caught Remy in, and I mean Patrick says it. It's like it's such a big lie to lie about that, like it has to be something else that he's
Mhm.
it's got to be some reason that he's lying about something so weird to lie about. Like why would you lie about that?
Yeah.
Especially when it helps the case to find Amanda. So then they go to the funeral for Nick, because Nick sadly passes away
Mhm.
from his bullet wounds and stuff. And he starts to talk to Remy about what he said the other night, and
He blamed it on the booze.
blamed it on the booze, yeah, and told him to forget what he heard and everything like that. And then let's just get to the point where they call Lionel. They set up a meeting with Lionel at Murphy's Law, which that's a nice little tie-in too. They meet at Murphy's Law to talk about what happened with Amanda, because they believe, Lionel had something to do with it also. And then this is kind of where Lionel comes completely clean with what happened. Lionel came home that night when Helena was gone with Ray, and he decided, we need to get Amanda out of this situation, out of this environment. And that's when they kind of him and Remy sneak Amanda out, right?
Yeah.
That's what we know at this point. So then a robbery begins to happen at the bar. And you can hear it right away that's Ed
Yeah.
Harris's voice, right? So I'm like, oh, that's him. And then the bartender comes in clutch. Oh, when Patrick starts screaming about how Ed Harris
I told him.
Yeah.
No, he goes.
He
What
goes,
did
Remy-
he say?
Remy
So
Brissett is responsible for Amanda McCree's murder or
It wasn't murder. It was
missing
Oh.
or
no,
disappearance.
No, she just said killed Amanda McCreary is what he said. I
Is
think.
that what he said?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, it was genius. He was just screaming it out because
Yeah.
like if he gets shot right there, then everyone's gonna remember what the hell was the guy yelling about before he got shot. It's genius.
Yep.
So then the bartender shoots him a few times. He runs away. He goes up on a rooftop. He dies right there, right? Everything like that. At this point, what did you guys think? I mean, because at that
Well,
point, I was
his-
like, that's the big twist.
His
I
final
thought-
words are "I love children."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not words. I love children, which is about
We're
to
just-
just
weird.
A little
What do you
strange.
mean by that? What do you mean you love children?
I think another point too was Amanda's what's Amanda's mother's name?
Helena.
Helena. She and her boyfriend robbed I think Cheetah at that point.
Yeah.
And
That was the
when-
night they robbed him, I think. Or
Yeah,
no, that
that's
was a couple
when-
days later. Because Lionel and Remy are sitting in the bar and he's telling Remy about it. How
100%.
I overheard about them making the drug run.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when they got together and kind of made the plan, I feel like. But I really like that it's so funny how you can just see like it's so clear that it's him underneath that mask in the bar.
you guys, this first time seeing that, you really thought like originally, right when someone came in to rob it, you thought it was him.
No,
I
because I was
knew-
like, what
I
are the
knew-
odds? And then
No.
you could hear it.
Yeah,
Ed
and
Harris.
then
you
once
knew.
that's it kind of gives it away, but it's just funny as shit. How what an idiot! Why the hell would he do that? Especially being a
Yeah.
cop.
But
He-
Lionel is
he
at
gets shot at.
he's at the table, like just not budging. And then as soon as they like really press him, sober for 23 years, he's like, all right,
Yep.
let me get 3 shots and a
Yeah,
tall
he's like,
boy.
give me a minute. Yeah. Yeah.
And then he starts finally unwinding, and that's when it's like a really big twist. But there's
Yeah.
another big one after this. But go on.
Yeah. So basically, and then you figure out too with the query and stuff like that, they set up Cheese.
Corey.
Corey, sorry. They set up Cheese. They killed Cheese. Originally, too, it's
Uh,
like,
I
It
said
seemed-
cheetah.
oh, Cheetah.
I
idiot.
heard that. It's all good.
Okay. You know what I meant.
Yeah.
Cheetah.
Josh is the one that's like leading us, so like we got to be on him a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, please correct me. Honestly, because I don't even have this shit written down. I'm just doing this off the top of my head.
I was gonna ask that. That's impressive.
I'm watching
Actually,
it,
I was gonna wait till the end.
He's
but I
watching it
didn't.
right now. He's
I know.
Yeah, I'm watching. I'm fast forwarding on my Fire Stick. Uh,
This is
Um,
this is actually his first watch through. He's trying to gain our
He's
our
like,
insight.
all right, what's going on?
yeah.
Look at
So
those
this
Spark
is
Notes.
this is one of my favorite parts of the movie, and this is like they're starting to drive to where Morgan Freeman's house is, right? And you're kind of putting the pieces together as the viewer as to his role in this and everything like that. They don't plain out tell you right away, but you're kind of like, okay, you know, right? You get to the house, Patrick goes up to them and talks to Jack, Agent Doyle, and right then and there Amanda runs out. And I think this is the first time we've actually where it's not flashback, we just genuinely see her.
Yeah.
And you know, there's like 10 minutes left in the movie. But you know, you see she is alive, she's well and fine and happy.
Yeah.
And she runs to Jack's arms and they're planning a family vacation.
Before you rip on this, Brian, couple things. So the first thing for me, when he was forced to retire, they did a really good job of not making me remember that, and really just kind of like giving like a little like quick flash at like what he was doing after retirement. Just like sitting
I
in the
just
cabin.
want to say very quickly, we forgot a very important part, Joshua.
Sorry.
After Remy was shot, and again, because I had thought they're gonna blame Patrick for this, and they brought him in because he was right next to the dead body, and that's when you find out that the ransom was fake because he
Yeah.
said,
Oh, I'm
"I
so
saw
sorry.
it."
Yeah, you're right.
And again, it wasn't a ransom note because they made the call and they had the transcript. And that's how
they
that's
don't
how
look-
Morgan Freeman knew that. Oh, they're doing something illegal. You guys are twisting my arm. Now I have to follow through
Yeah.
with this. But then you find out in that scene when they're interrogating Patrick that there was no call, they would have got it. It would have been screened. It would have been recorded, and there's no transcripts. Like all
Yeah.
of it is made up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, thank you so much for catching that because I've been fucking
Yeah.
pissed
Because
off at
I
myself.
just realized that I was like, this is what led them after that to go to Morgan Freeman's house
Yes.
was because he wanted
Right.
answers.
But remember, Jack Doyle retired because he went off. His daughter got killed. They don't really explain how she just got murdered when she was 12 years old, and then he committed his entire rest of his career to obviously allowing that to
missing
never happen
kids and
again.
stuff.
Yeah, he's on top of all the like missing child's cases and all that. And then this is the one where he accepts the loss on it and then goes into retirement because that's like his
Yeah.
final loss.
And
But
like I
then
said,
we
they-
find out that he's had her. It was all a plot all along between the three of them.
and they do a really good job of giving us just like a quick glimpse at
Mhm.
like what he's doing after retirement.
Mhm.
And they pan into like another like subplot or like another twist they have.
Oh.
But also Angie too, before Patrick went up and confronted Jack Doyle, she's like, "What are you gonna do if you're right?" He's
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
"Fuck, I don't know."
fuck if I know. I'm rolling dice here.
That's why he's like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Or she asked, "What are you gonna do if you're wrong?"
Yeah.
But
Well, and two, I like in all these flashbacks where it's like showing Helena and Ray coming into the house and arguing and stuff like that, like earlier on in the movie. All these flashbacks are actually what happened. They're just not showing you the extent and like the full thing of it, the full frame, the full scope of it. So it shows like Morgan Freeman with his hat on and he's driving the car and she gets in, they put Amanda in the car, he takes her and stuff like that. But yeah, so this is when the big heated debate happens where it's like between morals and like the law and everything like that, whether or not Jack should allow Amanda to stay with Jack or bring her back to his mother. And we've seen that Amanda's mom isn't really that well equipped and isn't really the best mother, and that Jack has a huge house. He's raised a daughter before. He has the experience. He's got the money.
The daughter literally calls Morgan Freeman's wife Aunt whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing but
And
trust.
the daughter
Like, she was
wanna
in
let go.
no harm, like at
No harm.
all. Like she was loving it.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you got to slide in that when the decision was about to be made, Angie brought up, if you go with the way I think you're gonna go, we're done.
yeah,
she can't
live
I'll
with
never
herself.
forgive
And
you.
this is where the movie became a giant.
Well, no. So wait, when he's talking to her out in the car, he goes, or no, when he's talking to Jack on his front door or in his driveway, he's like, he was saying it from that standpoint, and then Patrick's like, no, I'm not doing that, and then he goes, all right, now I'm asking you man to man, like, let me keep this girl, let me give her a better life, or else she's gonna end up in the same. It's gonna be a repeat. She's gonna end up just like her mother, all that. But then Patrick goes, but that's not your life to change. And that's the
Yes.
moral. That's the number one
Yeah,
question
it's
or the
just
answer.
not
right
Well,
his
there.
no.
choice.
You-
It's
I
not
Yeah,
his
think-
it's not
to
his
make.
choice.
I think the reason that he stuck with that is because he made that promise to her
Yeah,
mom.
that's that
Yeah.
too.
That's the
Well,
biggest.
Yeah,
So
we
before-
saw. Well, all right.
Before we get into this debate, let me just finish the movie. Basically, yes. So he calls the cops. They take Amanda from Jack. Amanda is returned home. And then you see that Angie and
Patrick,
Patrick have split up. They're done. Yeah, she left. She moved out her shit. They're not partners anymore. They're not dating anymore. They're done.
Dumbass.
Yeah.
Little
Anyway,
fumbled.
yeah.
dumbass. On all
Um,
fronts, bag was fumbled. What an idiot.
Fumbled.
Maybe she'll go back to that bar.
On us.
Yeah. Anyway, so Patrick goes and visits Amanda. And he ends up having to babysit.
Because Helene now has all these people rushing
Yes.
in and trying to
Yeah.
take her on dates, and she's talking about, did you see whatever their equivalent to Nightline is?
yeah,
like,
she's like
fuck
somewhat
you.
famous.
Well, no,
Fuck
she when she
She
did the whole
pulled-
promise,
she
she goes,
pulled
"Oh,
the
I'm gonna
Casey
stop drinking.
Anthony
I'm gonna
route,
stop going out.
dude.
I'm never gonna
Yeah.
let go of my daughter. I'm
Yeah,
never
and then
gonna-"
he asks
Yeah.
her, he's like, "Who's watching
goes-
Amanda?" And she goes, "Dottie." And he goes, "Does Dottie know that?" She goes, "Dottie will in 5 minutes." Yeah,
Dumb
and
bitch.
so he agrees to watch her. Now this is my favorite line in the movie, and I think you guys will like this line a lot too. He sits down, he looks at Amanda, and he goes, "Is that Maribel?" And she just goes, "Annabelle." That right there on the news, it was Maribel. The mom's been saying Maribel. It's her favorite toy. It's her favorite toy in the whole wide world. And the mom doesn't even know the proper name to the dog.
Yeah.
Yep.
That, and then the movie ends. And that right there shows
Damn it, dude.
that right there shows you that the mom isn't really as good as she seems.
No, and that makes that like then you want to know if Patrick's second guessing, but then I
Yes,
think
he
that's
is.
why,
He's fucking
No,
guessing.
he
Should
wouldn't
I
be
take this
second-guessing.
kid my child?
No,
Like,
so
no.
so that's what he's doing. Now that's when you can kind of write your own conclusion to it,
Exactly.
yeah, sequel, because that's why he agreed to watch her, because just like Jack said, like if you give her back to her mother, she's gonna be just on that same dark path, like
Isn't there something like
Yeah.
Dead by 17 or something like that?
yeah, something, or she's gonna have her own kids, and they're just gonna be it's gonna be like a loophole, or not a loophole, it's
Yeah.
just gonna be a circle, and that's why he agrees. Well, I can sit on, or I can watch whatever,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then that's when it kind of plays where he made these decisions, and it's gonna lead it, and he's gonna stick with that to ensure that it doesn't have what Jack says doesn't come to truth
Yeah.
you know,
And Patrick stuck with his
in the
word.
reality.
And I almost wish they would have like panned to like a different scene where it's like you see them together, like, and like that like he's taking care of her, but like obviously they leave that to speculation. You almost like
Yeah.
assume that they're
Yeah.
he's taking care of her at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. So I kind of
wish I would've
wanted
seen that though. I wish I would have seen that.
Yeah.
let's so let's say it right now. So Patrick, I think even though the movie's over and his mission's complete, he brought Amanda home to the mom. I think we're supposed to assume his job's far from being done. He's gonna
Yeah.
keep helping with Amanda and watching over her and making sure he did make the right decision, or at least try to make right on his decision that he's made. But my question is to you guys, if you're Patrick in that situation, you're talking to Jack and you walk down the driveway, what do you do?
I'm letting that kid go with Jack for sure. I'm letting that kid go with Jack. You know she's a piece of shit. You know she's a blow addict. They've been gone for however long, and I guarantee she was sniffing the whole fucking way.
But do you realize you would have to die knowing that you did that? You would have to keep
That
that
you
in, and
did
would
what?
never
No,
be
if
able to tell
anything,
anyone.
he could have went to the bar and saw Helene all fucked up and be like, "Hey, I know I didn't find your daughter, but I can promise you she's in a better place." Wink, 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 wink.
See,
Like, get the
say
fuck
that.
out of
You
here.
would have to go to the grave
And then,
with that.
if
or else
anything,
you're
how
part
do
of-
we know
you're
Jack wouldn't
conspired.
have wisened up later on down the line and been like, "Hey, well, you're 18 now. I think you should know that we technically took you from your mom, but also your
And
mom's a whore."
And he said that to Jack though. He's like, I don't want to
Yeah.
be down the line and have an 18-year-old girl come up to me and ask what happened.
No,
Yeah.
why didn't you give me back to my
Yeah,
mother?
why did-
Because
yeah,
obviously
why?
she's gonna go looking for answers eventually.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which I think that was pretty
That's-
powerful too, because I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, because that's why that scene alone when they're in the driveway goes through every scenario that you have in your head right now,
Yeah.
and they answer almost every single one of them.
To
Yeah,
be honest,
I
I,
really
think
like
they went about this. They did something really big that they didn't have to. Again, they just had to wait for Helene to be fucked up, and then Lionel could have came in and be like, "Hey, we're gonna
always
take
fucked up.
Amanda for the weekend," and then before they know it, they just fucking move cities, and then he just lives with Lionel and the
Yeah, but that's-
movie.
That's still kidnapping though.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
realistically, that
but
means
that's
she can
not
still go
that's
to-
not as
can
harsh
still
as
go to
is she
police.
dead? Did a drug dealer kill her?
But this is
Well,
this
that's
is
the
what gets
smarter
me,
way.
though. This is what gets me. What do you think would happen? Like, is she just gonna be in that cabin for the rest of her life? Like, no one's ever gonna see her again.
No,
Like,
they were about to leave.
I mean, they're gonna go on vacation.
They were
I
going
assume
out.
it was in the woods. or
And most
something.
people after that like initial little shock, they kind of sadly give up.
And
like,
she's 4,
looking.
Mike.
But
And she's 4. Once
so-
she's
But
7 or 8, you might not be able to
let me
tell
let
anyone.
me
Still,
let me
that's-
let
that's
me speak
unrealistic
my
in my
mind real
opinion.
quick.
I
The
think
fact
no,
is
see, I
that
disagree.
It's 2007. Technology wasn't even that great.
Yeah.
She's still gonna be with Jack, who's he's got money. He's he's gonna give her a life that she needs to live. But that's still weird as fuck. That
It
a
is.
random guy is just gonna take in a girl.
yeah,
Like
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is
makes
kidnapping.
sense.
Regardless
Yeah,
of
it's
if he's
kidnapping.
gonna
Yeah,
rape her or if
that's
he's
like-
gonna raise her
But
good.
he could adopt a daughter if he wants to, but why this one in particular? You know, that's what makes it weird about it. He can
Yeah.
go have a daughter. He can go change another orphan's life. But that's when even Patrick says, if that's the thing called CPS, put her in the
It's not his decision to make.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Child services.
Yeah, put
Child
her in the I don't know the name of that one thing.
Isn't it just child services?
Like,
No, put her in the portal. It's not portal, it's something like that.
Hmm.
I don't know, whatever.
The
But that's
system?
the thing is that everything, all the scenarios, they go through it right there.
Yeah.
Well,
And-
so the community that have seen this movie are pretty torn by it. There's a really big like Reddit thread about it.
Mhm.
Gone Baby Gone ending opinions question mark. I just watched the Gone Baby Gone. The user is since deleted it, but so I don't have the credit to this person, but they said it was genuinely a really good movie with strong performances and a well-told story progression. But I have to say that I found the ending outrageous. Patrick's character opts to return the stolen girl Amanda to her crackhead mother, as opposed to leaving her in the hands of a caring Jack Doyle, Morgan Freeman's character. He justifies his decision by claiming it was a legal obligation and that he expects the mother to change. To be perfectly honest, I'm appalled by his decision and his choice, especially in the light of in the final scenes of the firm whereby it is shown that the mother has not altered her attitude at all. To me, it strengthens the idea that when the morality opposes the law, that the moral option must be pursued. Do you believe the movie was aiming to convey this discourse? Furthermore, do you believe Patrick's choice was right or wrong, morally or lawfully?
Hey,
Lawfully.
send me that thread on Reddit. I'm gonna comment underneath it. I'm gonna say, "Shut the fuck up, buddy. You're stupid."
This was 9 years ago.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm gonna tell that guy. That all
It's
of that
9
would
years
be
ago,
fine.
and he deleted his Reddit. So
Good, good.
No, but that's just the thing is that he could, if he wanted a daughter, or he wanted a little girl to take care of, to raise her and do all that, he could have done it legally. He could have went and adopted one. He could have went and did all that.
Nah, but
Then
he's
you gotta think
helping
about
out
how many
his.
people died
He's
in-
helping out his fucking
But how
boy,
many
dude.
people
No,
died
If you
in
guys
that
came
process?
Everybody
in this
shut up.
situation, I'm helping you fuckers out.
Their
I'm
buddy
helping you
died.
guys
One of them
out.
died in the process of doing all this when he went up to the crack house and he got shot.
Yeah, but that's to save a boy too.
Yep.
That wasn't just Amanda, but I get what you
but
mean.
Still,
I mean,
Listen,
you can see it from either way.
There's too many. Why all that? None of this even had to conspire. Like none of this even had to come into fruition. If it
Yeah.
wasn't
Cancel the whole
for
movie.
him trying to, yeah, literally. If it wasn't them just trying to get away
I
with
was.
something.
I forgot it was 2007. They
But
were throwing
listen.
those slurs, bro.
Yeah, dude. That's another thing.
Everything that Reddit user
Wild.
said, everything that Reddit user said would have been correct if Patrick didn't follow through up with the child. Like if he didn't see that ending with him on the couch with her,
Yeah.
all that what he said 100% would have been true. But the fact that he followed through and made sure she was okay is 100% the reason why that Reddit user is fucking stupid as hell.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, too, Mike, all he can really do is just show up and make sure everything's all right. He can't really.
Well, he can take her to CPS.
Yeah,
he can
take
eventually
her-
call.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's his.
Oh,
That's what he
dude,
wanted
so
originally.
now instead of her going with a caring Jack, she's gonna get put into the system,
And be
probably
an orphan.
not get adopted,
Yeah.
orphan, can't even see her aunt and uncle anymore. Get the fuck out of here. That was the most.
But you
ignorant
don't
decision
think
they-
Patrick would follow up? And,
No, but
and still
Patrick's got-
follow
No,
up?
Patrick can't do shit because then she's owned by the state, bro, and that's what's fucked up about doing that.
But
Yeah.
Patrick's
He
got
was-
experience and he's got referrals from all those other cops when he was at the funeral saying, "Hey, good shit, man. Good job." So let
Cool,
alone he
the-
could.
The cops can't really help you with CPS. CPS is his own fucking
Well,
thing,
I know,
dude.
but that's what I'm saying. They still have to do cops to obviously separate.
And
the
then what?
parents and take 'em to court.
His biggest concern: what if down the line a little girl comes up to me? Why did you not return? What the fuck happens if 10 years down the line this bitch dies because Helena's got a new boyfriend that fucking goes crazy and kills
A lot of
both of them?
hypotheticals.
Yeah, it's hypothetical.
It is.
Yeah, it's such a
And that's
hypothetical.
it's left up to the.
But the main point you guys are talking about is a hypothetical. But he did the right thing. He made her promise he's gonna go back. No, like that was dumb as hell.
It'd be different if he didn't do it.
It
He
was the
keep on
stupidest
doing it.
goddamn thing.
Yeah, but then if that lie keeps going on, Patrick could get killed eventually. You never know. Someone could spill,
Killed?
just like he went
Who
to the
the fuck
bar
is
and all
gonna
those
kill
hometown
him?
people. But all those hometown people are just spilling the beans to him when he comes in just to have a drink, saying what's up. He
Yeah.
hasn't seen them in years. So it's
One
only one.
guy-
It takes one person to spill one word, and then all that's out. Patrick's going to jail. Angie's going to jail. Jack, all those guys are going to jail, and then
Exactly.
she's eventually going
Angie's
to
in
go back
jail.
to her mom in the long run. So either way, it just.
But see, that's
Yeah.
what that's what Jack says at the end too. Remember, he's like, in 10, 20 years, you're gonna look back and know that you made a mistake
Yeah.
by not letting me keep her.
And say he does
Um,
that. You seen very clearly how everything went sideways with their original plan to start with. What makes you
Yeah.
think that, oh, we're just gonna let her be with Jack and nothing's gonna happen?
Well, really,
Like,
nothing
no.
really would have happened if Patrick didn't get involved. If you think about it, so
Hey,
really,
they kept
this is
knocking
on
his door, and
Patrick.
Lionel was
Hey.
part of it, and he still knocked on the door.
Well, that's
No,
why she said
B-
Lionel. Yeah,
B wanted
Well, yeah.
him.
He said
he
Lionel
was
didn't
there.
want-
He
Lionel
could've not even showed
didn't
up.
want shit.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but if
could've
he
not even
doesn't
showed
show
up.
up, then he looks sus.
He
my
looks
gr-
sus in
my
general, saying, "Don't call the cops. Don't
Yeah.
call the cops." But I
Yeah.
mean, all
Patrick
in all,
did
that's
the
why
right
it's a good
fucking
movie,
thing.
man.
Look, it was super good up
What?
until that ending.
Yeah, I mean, but then if that makes you, that's why we're in here. I mean,
But that's why I fucking
What
love
would
Ben
happen?
Affleck, though. Shout out that motherfucker, directed the shit out of this movie.
Oh, yeah,
But
man.
that ending, fuck you, buddy.
but I mean, it just allows for all these theories and different, you have your own. Oh, I would have, each perspective on it. But I mean, realistically, the way it ended was the correct version, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Personally.
Man,
In
that
the, in the
ending
eyes
with
of the law,
Patrick,
maybe not morally.
I
he's
enjoyed the
still
ending. I thought it was
protected.
good. I mean, hey, he lost his bitch. He lost his.
Okay, so say he doesn't do it.
He lost
He's,
his bitch.
he's living a lie the rest of his life.
He
Yeah,
lost
that's
his
the thing, he's
bitch,
living
and
a
now
lie.
this crackhead didn't change and still has a daughter.
Yeah. But hey, all right. So the worst part of this entire movie is it just sells it. It makes what's her name's performance, Amy Ryan's performance, even better. When how do you feel? How do you feel getting your daughter
Oh
back?
my
I
god.
feel like 9/11.
Oh
Yeah,
my
what
god.
the fuck
I
is that?
couldn't believe that.
I honestly, I might go and actually buy this book and read it and see if that is part of it, just for that one line, just to see if that is a.
Isn't
inside
the
of the
book
book.
before?
Yeah, it was written
no.
in 1998.
All right, well then, unless that person gets
Oh,
a
never
few-
mind. At least someone's got a fucking brain.
Oh,
God, dude.
good
if
point.
that's in the book,
Wait,
then we need to be
I'm gonna-
scared.
No, I'm gonna read it. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, if that's in
Oh,
that
God.
book, we need to.
Hey, the
Get
guy's
really-
the guy's a nut. He's like in an insane asylum. He's just like, I told you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, and then too, I have a couple fun facts too, because I know you guys said this is Ben Affleck's first like directed movie. Apparently, he's done 2 other movies before this, but this was the first one to make it to the big screen, which I didn't know that.
Wouldn't
And
know
Chris
that.
Evans auditioned to play the role of Patrick.
Yeah,
That would have been kind of cool.
I remember reading that.
And then this one too, I saw this.
But I don't think anyone could really play Patrick's character better than Casey Affleck.
No, I think Casey
Like,
Affleck
it
did a
literally
good job.
was mint. And it's
Yeah.
that's how you say like anytime you watch a
Man.
movie, but
Man.
no, you really can't.
Just like that boy's arm. Mint.
yeah, man.
This one's pretty cool too.
Josh,
When,
I have a question. Josh, I have a question.
What's up?
Was Ben Affleck involved at all in the writing of Good Will Hunting? I thought that was like the whole thing. Was like him and Matt
yeah,
Damon,
see,
right?
Him and Matt Damon
the
wrote it
brothers,
together.
Affleck had previously worked together as actors on Good Will Hunting, Chasing Amy, and 200 Cigarettes, where they both wrote and acted.
Yeah,
So
okay.
yeah,
Cool.
they did.
Just
together.
wanted to make sure I wasn't forgetting that.
Yeah.
Oh, him and Matt Damon wrote that while they were in high school or college.
Yeah, I think it was
And
the first year
they,
of college.
They went out
Wow.
and like tried to seek all this like funding in order to like,
How do you like
know,
them apples? I
sell them
got
to
a number.
That's a great fucking
I love
movie.
that fucking movie. That movie I've seen at least like
Oh yeah.
I don't know 10 times. And I only watched it for the first time like 5 years ago. It's just one I got to throw on at least once a year.
Yeah, and then too, there's this one
Said
when Patrick and Angie arrive to Elena's place to make the initial inquiry. The TV flashes a scene from Jerry Springer Show, which I did notice.
Yep.
This episode is called Uncle Pip and Cupid, and it is used to subtly hint towards Lionel's characters and his evil intentions, which I did not realize that. That's a really cool Easter egg. And then I guess too, when Bubba picks up Patrick and they're in the car, Bubba actually plays in real life. He's a Boston rapper, and in the SUV, they're actually playing one of his songs. So that's another cool little thing.
Hey,
too.
that goes to show you how dog shit his music is. I didn't
even notice
I
it,
didn't
but
remember a
I
single
thought that
thing.
was kind of cool.
That
Yeah.
is cool, man. I like Bubba's character actually, man. I don't know. I thought he was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's sweet.
Yeah.
He reminds me of the one dude from was he in the town?
Oh, I think so. Honestly,
Yeah, I think he was.
Ben
wasn't
Affleck
he?
uses a lot of people.
Well, it's Boston.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He's in the town.
Yeah, I think he's one of the robbers, isn't he?
Yeah, and
Fuck
I
the
remember him from
Yankees.
Killing Them Softly. You guys ever seen
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
Fuck
yeah, 'cause
the
he looks super
Yankees.
familiar. Because I love The Town. I've seen that one a few times.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
good one. I just love when
Yeah.
they pull up with all the nun masks and the guns and the cop
Yeah.
sitting right there and he just looks the other way and
Oh,
drives off.
Yeah, and in this movie when they're panning throughout like Boston and showing like the suburbs and stuff like that, that reminded me of Town.
Yep.
Because he did that exact same thing in that too.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. Do you guys want to get into reviews? Your scores?
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Let's do it.
Do it.
No,
All right, Mike, you go ahead.
I'll start. Okay, I'll start off. Honestly, I think the acting was really good in this. Ed Harris and Morgan Freeman are just mint, as Aiden would say, man. They're every time they're in a
You said
movie,
it.
I'm definitely, what's the word for it? I'm drawing a blank.
Flabbergasted.
Yeah, Flabber. I like the movie pretty much. You caught my attention if Morgan Freeman or Ed Harris in the movie. But
Yeah.
I like the ending, man. I think the ending is literally what it should have been. Brian, fuck you for saying the ending is not good. That Reddit
It's all right.
user.
It's all
That
right,
Reddit
Mike.
user. You're stupid.
That's Brian.
Sorry. That's you. That's you.
Yeah, I
9
watched
years
this
ago.
movie 9 years ago.
But honestly, man, the twists and turns were really good, and it kept me on my edge, and it honestly caught my attention at the beginning of it. Not a lot of films do. Like you usually go through like that really boring like 30 minutes or so where it's like, okay, like what's the actual like what's happening in this movie? But this caught my attention pretty early. So overall, I think 83 out of 100.
Good score.
Solid.
Okay. Mike, I'll jump off of what you said there, only because I wrote down the exact same number. So I'm gonna go with an 83 out of 100 actually as well. I didn't talk that much, but I did like this movie quite a lot. Like you said, right away you're like into it. It doesn't take much to get you hooked into it and interested. And something that's not, I'm surprised that I actually never saw this. That I didn't even hear about this movie actually until Aiden mentioned it a
Yeah,
couple
me
weeks
too.
ago as a suggestion. I was kind of surprised this flew under the radar for me because I liked it. The ending, it does make you think. I'm gonna disagree with Brian. I liked the ending, but I can see at least both sides of it because you've got the moral side and the law side of it. I think what he did was right personally, but it is, I mean, yeah, who knows what'll happen to that child? Maybe the child will, die with that mother and be mistreated, or maybe she does a complete 180 and is like, look what my mom did. You don't know, but I don't think that anyone can make the decision to take a child away and try and justify it. That's my thought. If I was
Can I say something really quick, Andrew?
yeah, go ahead.
You give your score. I think, but the whole point of that though was like he's not just leaving her with her mother. He's there with her at the very end of the movie.
Yeah, he's
That's
still
the whole point. It's not that he wants to do it by the law. It's that he's sticking to his word and
Yeah.
that he's doing it himself.
yeah. That's a
You
really
know,
good
Mike, he
point.
could have had a kid the natural way or adopted instead of having to
He wasn't looking for,
babysit this
but he
kid.
wasn't looking for a
No,
kid.
he could have just gave the kid back.
He wanted
and
to be
been with
the
his
distant
woman.
uncle that
He
checks
was-
Realistically,
in.
you don't know
Oh,
if he's gonna be there
yeah.
every day. Or
He
he's
was
just
looking
there
at
that
her
one
best
time,
interest.
Yeah, or maybe he'll just
He
be
was
at her
looking at her
funeral.
best
You know?
interest.
Yeah,
He didn't want to
great,
be her father. He
great
was
because
looking out for
the only
girl 'cause he
person that
cared.
cared B is probably not going to be around near her daughter anymore, and Lionel's in jail now. So
All right. Now I hate to cut everyone off, but remember
No.
that when he goes and he's in, when she's getting ready, she's drinking the beer, doing her makeup, saying that she's about to head out with that date.
Yeah.
Remember Patrick goes, well, that's probably why B never paid the bill, not because I got Lionel locked up. And she's like, no, she doesn't hate you for getting Lionel locked up. But then that obviously proves that he didn't do it for the money, but he wouldn't mind getting paid for the hard work that he put in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just another thing that we left out. so
Sorry, Andrew. Go on.
No, you're good. I mean, I said everything I was gonna say for that, and I'm sticking with that 83 as well. Aiden, you were kind of going in mid thought. You wanna jump on?
Yeah.
Give your
Yeah. So I mean, like you said, I suggested this movie. I've seen it probably 2 or 3 times. Great movie. That's why some of you guys said that you never saw it before, so I said why not watch this one?
I think all
we're
of
gonna
us,
have a
right?
lot to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Besides Brian, just that last 10 minutes. But all in all, it's still a great movie. We all enjoyed it. It's not like something that you might watch once or twice. Like, I do just because those kind of movies, you know, even the meaning behind it, knowing that this is Ben Affleck's first directed movie, and he let his own brother, his younger brother, be the, you know, lead star in it. And you know, it's good. You watch it once, and then you watch it, say, a year and a half from now, it's just a refresher. You know, it's still good. It's a good watch, no matter how many times you've seen it. But you know, everything, story, thrillers, my number one kind of, you know, genres. But if I could rate this one, I'd probably give it a solid 90 out of 100. You
Yeah,
know, I like
good
it. I've
review.
enjoyed it. I've seen it multiple times. You know, and just watching it again with, like, you know, a fresh mentality, you're like, oh shit, maybe he should have never told about the girl, or he did the right thing. And, you know, especially when you have like people to talk about it with, you know, it kind of changes your perspective on it. But I think it ended perfectly. You know, nothing else that they really could have changed, all in all.
That's already the majority, Brian.
Yeah,
So fuck
great,
you.
Dude,
great
I don't give
watch.
a fuck about a majority, Mikey. You fucking think MCU movies are fucking gods? Like, shut up.
Definitely
All right,
don't. Fucking lie.
Josh, let's
Like, turn
get
that
you,
camera, show that shrine in the corner.
Josh, let's get your thoughts. I want Brian to end
Again, it's
it.
not hard to remember. Zero.
Not giving
No,
you a fucking 0.
No, I'm gonna match Aiden's score. I'm gonna go 90 also.
Ah.
I did forget to mention earlier, I'm sorry, but it's got a 95% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes and 86% audience score. So it's kind of similar to where we're at. Or in between those, around those. Honestly, like I could easily rewatch this movie again. Even though like it is a mystery and you're trying to figure out along with Patrick what happened to Amanda. But there's hints and things like throughout the movie that you can pick up on that maybe you didn't notice the first time around. And I love when movies do that. And another thing I really loved about this movie was like at the end, it is controversial, like the decision whether or not he should have returned Amanda back to her mother or kept her with Jack Doyle. And I liked that a lot. I that's what like Civil War does that too with the Marvel movie Civil War, where it's like, you know, which side are you on? Because you can kind of see it from both perspectives about who's right and who's not. And
Nah,
like you
Team
kind of see
Iron
both
Man.
sides. I'm Team Iron Man too. Fuck Team Cap.
Team Cap
it-
for life.
Team Cat.
Yes. But anyway, yeah.
Team
So
Iron
like
Man's for
I
fucking
I
nerds.
love when a movie can like kind of persuade you to see both
Thank
sides of things. But I too, I mean, it's not an absolutely perfect movie. Sometimes when it was showing those backflashes and stuff like that, flashbacks, it was kind of getting a little confusing as to what really did happen. At least watching it the first time through. But I mean, you're putting the story together like Patrick is, so you're supposed to be a little confused, I think. So, for that, I just give the movie a 90. I would watch it again though. It's definitely worth a watch.
Agreed.
Brian, what'd you-
Brian.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Blur it
so like I said, movie started off so goddamn strong, kept me intrigued the whole fucking way through. Like I said, Ben Affleck, goated, love him. He really, again, even though fucking Batman vs Superman wasn't good, Batflick was tight. One of the hardest opening Batman scenes. Again, he can't really do any wrong to me. But throughout the whole fucking movie, all the twists and turns, it's fucking phenomenal. Like, it is so good. Casey Affleck, love that dude. Like I said, I just recently watched Ocean's 11 for the first time, and I saw him, and I was like, hey, he's fucking in the movie Aiden was talking about that we're about to watch. And I was like, cool. And, but yeah, the movie, like I said, I like the idea of it, like, everyone being from the city, they all know each other, and that was super fucking tight to see. Patrick's character, his progression throughout the whole thing, though I think he should have changed at the end, it was still good. And I think when it comes down to it at the end, it's so stupid. Again, Ben Affleck, shout out you, because we're sitting here having this debate about a movie that came out in 2007. Which is gonna feed into the score. Remember that for later. But that ending, I think it would have been a lot better if he just let Jack keep the girl. And then if they really wanted to, it would have been super cool if they did like a jump a year or two down the line, and then fucking Patrick and what's his girlfriend's name?
Angie.
Angie. If they just showed up at Jack's house and they were just checking on a little girl and they were just having a barbecue, something like that. Like, these are this little girl's protector because she's so young she doesn't realize her mom's a fucking crackhead.
Yeah.
Like, that just infuriated me. And again, maybe I'm going into this so hot because, like I said, this did just remind me of the Casey Anthony case the whole fucking way. And I hate her. I despise her. But
I just go ahead.
all
I'll
in
let you
all,
finish.
score 81. Good ass movie. Good ass movie.
You really hyped up Hayden this
Except for that
movie to
ending.
give it
Oh,
within
yeah,
2 points
what?
of Mike and I.
Yeah. I knew I was gonna go up to the 80s, but I didn't know where I was
It
gonna.
is a
land.
great movie.
I
mean,
needed a fucking day to let it mellow. Because again, that end pissed me the fuck off. I went to bed upset. But again, a movie that can do that, dude, like fuck yeah, I'm with that. I am
Yeah.
so with that.
That's a
That
good
is
point.
so good. Like again, 2007, 15 years. Like what the fuck? Like we're still talking about it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Aiden might read his first book for the first time since high school. Like this is great.
High school,
first time.
middle school.
First time in his life.
Went through high school and college without reading a book.
Jesus.
Nah, hey, come on.
Yeah.
I got
Well-
a picture book right here. No, fuck, I had something I forgot. I mean, kind of just to add on to the fact that, you know, he made the right choice telling the police that, you know, they abducted Amanda.
Mhm.
You got to think, why would he let, if anything, he should have shot Patrick when he was walking away from the car.
Honestly, yeah.
Why would he, how did he expect to get away with that?
He
You
didn't.
know, he obviously he didn't convince him good enough to let him where he walked away sleep on it. Let me know, because you know I'm going on vacation, but if you
Well, I
tell
think
me
his
I'm
whole
going to
point
jail
is
for
that
the rest of my life, and I'm
His whole
ruining my
point is that
retirement.
he isn't evil and he's different than like a normal kidnapper and stuff like that, and that
Yeah, but
he
I mean,
can
he's
give her a
still
better life. So
kidnapping.
He would have proved
Right,
Patrick's
he should have
point
made
then.
that. He should have.
yeah,
made
he would
that,
have
you
proved
know,
Patrick's
point.
point. Well,
He
too,
should've
I
made
really
that
liked
point.
how like Angie was like, "I'll hate you forever if you do this," and he was like, "I can't live with myself if I don't." It was like you had both leads
Kind
kind
of
of
sounds
like,
like he's being really selfish if you think about it.
No, bro. What the fuck is Angie talk? I'll hate you forever. What the
No,
fuck
yeah,
is
she's dumb. She's dumb because they
She's
went through
a
a
dumb
lot
bitch for
together,
that.
and then she just wants to leave because
yeah,
of
she had a
that.
bad take on that.
that? Hey,
No.
a bad take, aka Brian Steak.
No, but that's why like some people do
Cricket,
legitimately hate
cricket,
this
cricket,
movie
cricket,
because
cricket. Fuck you.
because of what Brian feels that he should have been able to that she should have been able to stay with
Look
Jack.
again, the ending. If an ending can make you that fucking mad, like
Yeah.
seek help. But also, like, don't rate the
Seek
movie
help.
bad for it. Like, fuck,
Yeah.
like that movie was solid all around. It's fucking mint, bro.
It's mint.
It is
But
mint.
are you guys ready to close this out?
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so next week we're doing 13 Lives, which is like it's based off a true story about a guy who saves a soccer team from a cave.
It's
It
on
looks
Amazon
like
Prime.
How did,
it's on
how did that
Amazon Prime.
soccer team get in that cave?
I don't know.
What are they doing
Uh,
in the cave?
And then too, we're doing Bodies, which is like a comedy horror. I don't know much about it, but we'll
Has
check
anyone
that out
seen that
too.
real quick?
No.
My girlfriend
in
did. She
theaters.
liked it.
Okay.
Good.
And everyone she went with didn't like it.
So sick.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So that'll be fun to talk about. And then too, our next rewind will be September 13th. That's the plan, Tuesday. And I will say that we are doing Fight Club next.
We're
So-
doing
and I think we're
American
gonna have a
Sniper
guest.
for the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We'll get around to that one. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. Please go download and check out the YouTube and everything like that. So
And like we said, we're doing these rewinds, like, you know, it's something new that we're kind of introducing here. So if there's an old movie, you know, your favorite film or something like that, could
Yeah.
be a TV show.
Any
We kind of
genre.
want to keep it. We kind of want to keep it towards films, though.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, reach out.
But
to one of
eventually we'll
us,
have to
leave
do
a
Breaking
comment,
Bad and all that shit. So
You know, reach out to the what is it? The email team. You know, our
The
marketing
Twitter.
team on our
Yeah.
website.
Customer
So,
care
so
and
a lot of calls and a lot of
relations.
fan mail coming in. So you know,
we are
be
growing.
patient. Be patient.
yeah.
Yeah, the small guys are growing
If they
for
don't
sure.
contact you, it's about
We're
3
gonna
to 7
be we're gonna be
business
the
days
medium
for a
guys
reply.
podcast. And
But all right.
just a friendly reminder here before we close it out. When we talk about small guys, we're not talking about our appearance.
And don't
What
forget
are we
that
talking about?
hashtag.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
Hashtag pray Aiden gets bitches.
Yes.
Yeah.
So spam that shit, man.
Got a lot of confusion. People thinking that they were smartasses. You used the wrong prey. It's
Used
because
the
we're talking
wrong
about the
prey.
movie Prey.
Pray.
Dumbass.
Yeah.
Oh, literally pray to
Fake
God.
fans. They're fake fans.
Pray to
man.
Jesus Christ.
But all
All
right,
righty.
boys.
All right, boys. I love you all.
Love you
All
too.
right.
All right.
Love you too.
See you,
Love you.
boys.
See you next week.